Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
Day we hustle, but the night we
Know that they ride or die. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
Day we hustle, but the night we
Boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. My name came up a lot, it sounds more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. My name came up a lot, it sounds more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. My name came up a lot, it sounds more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. My name came up a lot, it sounds more when I was not around. Certain people that I know, they ain't no longer about. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
Day we hustle, but the night we
Know that they ride or die. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
Day we hustle, but
Know that they ride or die. Cold, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly. Know that they fly. Know that they ride or die. Cold, these brothers my guys. Know that they fly. Know that they fly. Know that they ride or die. CJ Ike, they ain't no longer about. They ain't no longer about. They ain't no longer about. CJ Ike, they ain't no longer about.
day we hustle, but the night we
Boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side. Know that they ride or die. I keep boys by my side.
day we hustle, but the night we
Boys by my side. Know that they ride or die.
Hello, I am Uncle Mike, your favorite gamer's favorite uncle, and welcome to the live stream here on Monday night. And if you are in the United States, then I hope that you had a amazing Labor Day here on this Monday and a great Labor Day weekend. A few little housekeeping things to go over before we get started here with our flight tonight in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 on the Xbox Series S. And that is one, well, go down there and subscribe if you haven't. Click that like button if you do. Come join me now in chat or even in a future chat in a future live stream. But also is that after this, I will be updating the description and putting the information into the giveaway that I announced on the previous live stream, which was yesterday, Sunday morning, which was Way of the Hunter by Nine Rock Games. And I have a strategy which includes a giveaway of a $50 U.S. Xbox gift code after I reach 500 subscribers. And so the rules will be posted in the description below after the live stream. But you can go look at the previous live stream, which was yesterday, and you can read all about the giveaway there. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 here on the Xbox Series S. And we are going to be recreating tonight a full IFR flight. It is nasty outside. We've got drizzle and rain and clouds and all kinds of stuff, but we are recreating Aviation 101, Mr. Aviation 101 himself, the pilot tuber, hashtag pilot tuber. Remember, I created that hashtag pilot tuber, Aviation 101. Again, you can find a link to his channel in the description below. You can also find a link to the actual flight that I am recreating, his video of his flight, in the description below. But we are up here in Addison, Texas, up by Dallas, and we are going to be heading south to San Marcos Regional, which is just north of San Antonio, but south of Austin, so in between the two. And so that is what we are going to be doing. We are in Aviation 101's Cessna 172 with the steam gauges here, which is November 80-90901. And so it is he has a blue livery on his real airplane, so I went ahead and picked the best blue livery that I had for November 80-90901, which is the blue flight sim livery. So here we are. Also, you can see that since we're up here in the Dallas area at Addison Airport, that you can see all the other players that are in Microsoft Flight Simulator right now. And so that is what all of those gamer tags are there on the screen. I thought I'd leave this up for that, because if you are interested in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 on the Xbox, it is part of Game Pass. So, but these are all other players that you see there as we pan around and just kind of take a look at November 80-90901. And so with that, let's get in the cockpit, and here we are in the cockpit, ready to go. Yes, I am flying the steam gauge Cessna 172. The reason being is because, well, that is the avionics package that Mr. Aviation 101 has in his airplane. But if you go check out his YouTube channel, you'll see that he got a glass cockpit. He got an upgrade on his instrument panel recently, but this flight is about 2 years old or something like that. So I went ahead and I picked the steam gauges of what he had before, and like I said, we're going to probably be in the soup the whole way. So this is going to be one of these flights that we're really going to need to stay on top of our instruments, because we will not be able to fly by the seat of our pants visually. This is going to be a complete IFR, or instrument flight rules flight. Not sure that I've really done that before, where we've really been in the soup. So this is kind of the first time that are going to do that. I've also, see, we've got views set up. I'm just going to check to make sure that views are all set up. Everything is looking good. Well, let's go ahead and get November 80-90901 here. Let's go ahead and get it started, warmed up, and let's get into the air. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the yoke so we can see everything. I can see the parking brake is set. Let's go ahead and fuel cutoff valve is now pushed in. Fuel is on both tanks. Mixture is coming full rich. Flaps are up. Everything is looking good. So let's go ahead and turn on everything and let all the avionics and everything warm up. We do have a GPS suite here, so I have gone ahead and programmed in our flight plan here. And so as everything is warming up, we'll let everything, there we go. Yeah, still got the cough. Everything is warming up. Everything's looking good. We're going to be using a lot of instruments on this flight tonight. Just because, well, one main reason is because this is the steam package. So we're going to be using the ADF over here. We're going to be using both VORs and NAVs. So a lot's going to be going on here in this flight. We are single pilot here, IFR. So a lot's going to be going on. As you know, a lot goes on in the cockpit, even when you're just flying on Xbox, because I fly I'm a gamer, so I fly on the controller, and I do have a keyboard, but still, a lot goes on here. And so if you've been watching any of my other videos, go check those out. But you can see that a lot goes on. Rely on the autopilot and stuff sometimes not. So yeah, but everything is looking good, warmed up. And so yeah, I think we are ready to start. Let's go ahead and get this off Zulu time. And let's go local time till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 24 volts over there on the old voltometer. Everything is looking good there. We are actually going to start operating the airplane. So let's go ahead and turn the beacon on. So now if we can come over here, you can see the beacon on the tail there flashing. So we've got the beacon on. So we're operating the airplane. Even though nothing's going, we're still operating the airplane. We're still doing something. So, all right. So mixture. So we were doing fuel. So fuel is on. Everything is looking good there. We can come over here and fuel flow. So let's come over here and fuel pump. Seeing if I can get some fuel pressure to show up there. But there we go. We'll just go ahead and everything should be going. So mixture is fuel rich. We basically got it primed. Go ahead and crack the throttle now. Go ahead and everything is looking good. So let's come over here and can I get a ClearProp? And oil pressure's coming up. Everything is looking good there. Let's go ahead and give a little bit more throttle to about 1,000 RPMs. There we go. Let everything warm up here. Fuel looks good. And we'll let oil pressure's there. We'll let the oil temperature come up. Everything is looking good, good. We got plenty of volts now. Amps look good. So I like what we've got going on. So with this flight, there's going to be quite a bit of pre-planning here because we have got, well, we're IFR. So we want to stay ahead of the airplane, and that doesn't mean because based on our speed or anything like that. It means that there's going to be a lot going on, and so we want to go ahead and pre-plan as much as possible. So if I go ahead and show you, and I come over here, so basically right here, this is the world low IFR chart. And so our route here is we're going to take off. We're then going to, well, we're going to get clearance, but this is what we filed for. We're going to head over to Maverick VOR. We're going to intercept then the southern radial and head south. Then we're going to pick up the radial then out of Waco, Texas, and make a little turn there down to Waco. And then outbound on Waco down and then pick up San Antonio. We might get vectors down here for the approach into San Marcos. We might not have to go all the way to San Antonio, but that's kind of how Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 builds the flight. And so that's what we're going to be doing. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that we've got Maverick here, 113.1, so tango, tango, tango. And you can see that in our GPS here. We've already got it programmed in the GPS. But let's go ahead and program that in onto the nav. So we're going to double click, switch over to VOR. And so we're going to dial in then 113.1. So 113. Might be close enough even here on the ground that we get reception. Nope, doesn't look like it. Oh, we need to flip it over. There we go, 113.1. Yep, and we do have. And so that's going to be pretty much direct. And so it's going to be something like, I would imagine that it's probably, oh, what is it going to be, like 240? Something like that. So there's, now it flipped over to 2. And So yeah, about 235. But we know that we're going to be heading south for a little bit first, so I'm going to go ahead and put on 240. And then what we're going to do is down here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to click, we're going to switch over to nav, we're going to dial in 113.1, which is Maverick. Tango, Tango, Tango here. So we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and switch that one over. And then what we're going to do is we're going to dial in the outbound here. So what that means is, and so you have it, let me switch back over here to the cockpit. So I went ahead and I went and dialed in here 113.1, set this for 240. So that's going to be, we're going to head direct to, because that's probably going to be our departure, standard departure. Is going to be heading to Maverick VOR and then heading south. So then over here I dialed in 113.1, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial in our outbound on that, and that is basically about, looks like to be about the 186, something like that. Radial. So we're going to go ahead and dial in that, so about 186. There we go. So basically what we've done here is we're using the instruments to make it so that way we can turn toward the VOR and then also head south. And then what we can do is, if I go back and I show you the chart, so this is basically programmed into the nav these two turns right here, toward the VOR and then south. And then what we can do is, once we're outbound, then we can actually start to think about picking up Waco, which is 115.3, also on this inbound track here, all right, of 183. So we are about, this is 186 and then 183. So just a little turn. You can see there's just a little turn right there in that. So we're going to come over here and 115.3 with a, on the radial of 183 outbound. All right, so that is what we are going to do. Inbound then is going to be, well, that is inbound 183. So there we go. So 115.3. So let's go ahead and get back in the cockpit here. And so what we're going to do then is, so this one is set up for the outbound. What we're going to do is we're going to now set this one, just dial it in 115.3. It's just getting ready, staying ahead of the airplane. And if you want to, we can even come down here into the chart. And again, lots going on as we do this. But then San Antonio down here, San Antonio is 116.8. So we can go ahead and just dial that in, 116.8 down here, just so we have the frequencies all dialed in. So this hack and cough is just the worst. It's not like I'm sick or anything like that. It literally is just this like little bit of phlegm or something like that, and it is absolutely the worst. So 116.8. So there we go. We've got everything pretty much dialed in, ready to go. So we're going to come over here. We're going to make sure that we are on nav. We are nav. So we're all, even though we can use the GPS here with this magenta line, we can use that. It's great, perfect, no problems. But we are going to also dial in the nav here with these, and then we'll just use this to kind of take a look on how we're doing. So, all right, everything is taking it. Everything is warming up. I like what we see here. So with that, let's go ahead and listen to weather.
Addison Airport information, Charlie 1900 Zulu. Wind 147 at 4. Visibility 9er. Sky condition, ceiling 4,100 feet overcast. Temperature 6. Dew point 1 tree. Altimeter 29.54. ILS runway 16 in use. Landing and departing runway 16. VFR aircraft say direct.
We're not VFR.
All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact.
All right, we got Charlie. Let's go ahead and get our IFR clearance.
Addison
Cessna November 809er, 9er 1 IFR to Kilo Hotel
All right,
Yankee.
let's get ready to copy this.
Cessna November 809er 901 is cleared to Kilo Hotel Yankee India Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 16 climb and maintain 4,000 feet. Departure frequency is 124.3 squawk 1056.
Cessna November 809er 9er 1 cleared to Kilo Hotel Yankee India Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 16 climb and maintain 4,000 feet. Departure on 124.3 squawk 1056.
Cessna 9er 1 readback correct. Contact ground on 121.6. Good day.
All right, so we are basically pretty much here, ready to go. Went ahead and turned on some lights. We'll get down to the end runway and we'll do a run up and all of that, and we'll go through our checklist and make sure everything is looking good. But I think we are ready to go here for our IFR flight down to Hotel Yankee Indigo, which is San Marcos Regional. So, all right, so let's go ahead and contact ground.
Addison ground Cessna November 809er, 9er 1 with Delta ready to taxi IFR.
Cessna November 809er 9er 1 taxi to and hold short of runway 16 via taxiway Alpha. Contact tower on 126.0 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 16 using taxiway Alpha Cessna 9er 9er 1.
All right, so we got our taxi clearance. Everything is looking good. So we are going to be taking off runway 16. So let's go ahead and let's check everything is looking good. So we need to go ahead and center our with magnetic. Let's go ahead and get this all set up here. There we go. All right, so now compass and heading indicator are matched. So we're going to come out here. We're going to make a right turn and head on down. So parking brake is off. And here we go. A lot of traffic out here today. All right, here we are on Alpha, head to runway 16. So if we go in the cockpit there, you can see we're heading runway 34. So we are heading 340 degrees. So that's opposite of runway 16. So everything's looking good. You can see the runway that we are on Alpha there, over there on the left, and 3416. So we are heading, everything is looking good. Now, one of the things that I have done is, just so that you know, is I have gone ahead and I have filed or put into our flight path close to what Aviation 101 flew. So they flew the J-Pool departure and then shot the instrument, the ILS Approach runway 13 down in San Marcos. So I've put that all in. So I'm kind of expecting that is what everything is that we're going to get. And so we can really recreate their flight. So even though the flight sim gave us climb to 4,000, you know, as filed, well, I filed the J-Pool departure and all of that. So our flight path is, I think, what Aviation 101 actually flew. If you watch their video, they did the J-Pool departure and then the ILS runway 13 into San Marcos. So we are going to do the same thing. That is what I'm expecting. So, but everything is looking good. Just check the views. Yep, just so that way you can get some. There's the windsock. Got just light winds here, so we're good there. We're just going to be mainly in IMC here for the flight with this weather. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll request a higher altitude or something like that when we actually get up. Once we get up into the air. So, all right. I see our run-up area, so everything is looking good there. Again, I'm on the controller, so I've kind of got some special combos that I can do that give me throttle and stuff like that, because it's just, again, with just the buttons and stuff, it's a little tough to work the throttles and everything. But we've got a nice run-up area over here, so we'll just duck in over here. Got a lot of traffic just because we're here in the Dallas area. That's why you see all these other players here flying all kinds of stuff, just because it's a neat place to fly. Dallas, big airport. They've improved the airport. You don't have to pay for it to get an improvement, better modeling and all this kind of stuff. So that's why a lot of people fly over here at Dallas. So, okay, so here we are. Let's go ahead and do a run up. Let's bring the engine up here. About 1600 or so. Let's go ahead and go 1700. There we are. And let's check all the instruments. Everything is looking good. Let's go ahead and check the magnetos. Drop of about 150. Let's go to both. Should go back to 1700. 1700, there we are. We are back at 1700. Let's check the left. And there is our drops. Are looking good there. Go back to both. All right. Not have carb heat or anything like that, nor do we have a constant speed prop, so we don't need to check on any of that. All right. Let it warm up. Let's check our engine instruments. Fuel flow looks good. Exhaust gas temperature, we can let that warm up here just a little bit longer. All the other temps are looking really good. So, all right. Gonna let it warm up just a little bit longer here. Let's go ahead and start going through our checklist here. If you have not gotten one of these, this is Missionary Bush Pilot. I have an affiliate link down in the description below, but this is a checklist box, so I am using it even on Flight Sim. But you can go check out Missionary Bush Pilot, and you can actually see him using what he has created in the Kodiak 100 as he flies around Papua New Guinea and down there. So check that out. His links and stuff are in the description below, plus a affiliate link if you want to get yourself your own version of the boxes. So you're going to hear maybe some clicks and all that. So, all right, as we let this continue to warm up, fuel looks good. Fuel amount looks good. Fuel's on both. Everything is looking good. So that's looking good there. All right, controls. Let's go ahead and controls looks like free and clear. So that looks good. Systems, let's go ahead and make sure we are on nav mode. We've gone ahead and programmed in all of our VOR equipment. Everything is like that. Transponder is all ready to go. One of the things that we could do is, okay, so I think we've warmed up the engine long enough. Let's go ahead and just kind of sit here. One of the things that we can also go ahead and do though is we can go ahead and cycle the autopilot. So I'm going to cycle it on. I'm going to go ahead and set it for 4,000 feet. I'm going to fly it up there probably by hand. So we can go 4,000 feet. We can also then set it to, let's go ahead and do 500 feet per minute. We'll just go ahead and preset all this kind of stuff. We can go also set our heading bug. We're taking off on runway 16. So we'll go ahead and preset the heading bug also to 160, just so we have it. We're going to get up into some soup here and all of this, and so we want to go ahead and pre-program in as much as possible. Again, staying ahead of the airplane here, even in flight sim, because here in the flight sim you will find out that you'll get behind the airplane real quick. And I apologize for that. I have been staying on this. I am so sorry. You missed the whole taxi and all that because I forgot to click a button. So this is a good place for me to say that errors are made. And but one of the things that I've also and will be doing is I will be putting chapters in the videos once YouTube does its thing and it loads up and it does all of that. I'm starting to put chapters in all my videos. Reason being is for things like this, making mistakes, you can then jump ahead. So obviously a lot of people are going to jump ahead, and because I was showing the IFR chart rather than showing you the taxi out, and so there'll be a chapter for run up or takeoff here. So sorry about that, but things happen and mistakes are made. I need actually a checklist. It seems like I need a checklist for the actual live stream, not just the flying. So, but we are going through our checklist here. So controls, we just went ahead and cycled the autopilot, so that is good. Flaps, we don't need any flaps for takeoff. Mixture, we are down here at below 1,000, or actually below 1,000 feet. We're at 650 feet in elevation here, so we're not going to trim the mixture or anything like that, so that is good. Props and fuel pump, we really don't. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the auxiliary fuel pump for takeoff, so let's go ahead and do that. Carb heat and cowl flaps we do not have on this airplane. Harness, my seat is all ready to go. Lights, let's go ahead and turn on the landing lights, so that's all good. Trim, we are all set. No, that's way too much trim there. I think it was the autopilot that was doing that when I cycled the autopilot. So trim. Okay, our abort here is we are gonna go straight ahead if we have enough runway. If we should be off. We should have good speed by the windsock there. If not, we are gonna go ahead and kill the power and just go ahead and come to a dead stop straight ahead. If we have enough runway, we'll go ahead and land straight ahead. If we get up into the soup and all this kind of stuff, then as soon as we probably get up in the soup, we'll think about using the autopilot as much as possible, but we will come back to the airport if we have enough, because you know people have died recently here. Some real notable people have died trying to make the impossible turn to come back to the airplane. We've got a lot of weather here, so we're gonna it's gonna be challenging. It's gonna be challenging no matter what. So all right, trim and abort. And so yeah, let's line up and let's get our takeoff clearance and let's go for a ride down to San Marcos here in November 80991 Aviation 101 Cessna 172 up here in the soup. So let's go ahead and parking brake comes off. I'm sorry about the whole switching the cough and and that. So there we go, and we are all set to go. So let's go ahead and call up tower and tune to the tower and let's request takeoff clearance. IFR from Addison.
Addison Tower, Cessna November 809er 1 ready for departure, runway 16 IFR to Kilo Hotel Yankee India.
Cessna November 809er 1, altimeter 29er.54, wind 147 at 4. Cleared for takeoff runway 16.
Cleared for takeoff runway 16 Cessna.
All right, here we go.
809er 1.
All right. Runway 16. Takeoff clearance. And we are ready to go. Everything's looking good. Everything's in the green. Airspeed is alive. 40 knots. Windsock, and we are good. We are continuing the takeoff. Everything is looking good. 65 knots. Rotate, and up we go. Up we go into the soup. Trim, trim, trim. Climb out at about 80. And up we go. Up we go to the wild blue. Well, it's not blue, but up we go.
Cessna 901, contact regional departure on 124 decimal tree. Good day.
124 decimal tree, Cessna 901. Regional departure, Cessna November 80.
See our needle center in there?
Passing 1,500 feet, climbing 4,000 feet.
Cessna November 80901, regional departure altimeter 29.54. Continue to Tango, Tango, Tango.
Tango, tango, tango! That's us. So we're making this turn here, just nice easy.
Generic 0901 traffic is 10
As you can tell, we got some turbulence, climbing out at 80,
Report them in sight.
going to 4,000, but we're also making the turn here to 240.
Generic 62 Papa traffic is 4 o'clock for miles at 1,600 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Got a lot of clutter here on the old screen without everybody else flying here.
Generic 0901 have the traffic.
All right, there we go.
Generic 906.
Offset it a little bit to get that needle centered,
127.6.
because the departure is we want to go basically right to. I'm going to come off the power here a little bit.
Generic 208, contact Fort Worth Center on 127.6.
Definitely got some bumps here. It's going to be a bumpy ride here in the thick and the soup.
Generic 62 Papa traffic in sight.
We are continuing our climb. We're passing 2,750, going to 4,000. Still 80 knots in the climb. 1,000
Generic 49er Foxtrot.
1,000 to go.
Resume on navigation.
All right, needle centered.
Contact Fort Worth Center on
Turning back to 240.
Good day.
All right, 3,000, going to 4. I'm still just flying on the sticks. Everything got a nice trim going here.
Generic 49er Foxtrot.
I'm really looking down here at the instruments. I am not looking outside here. I'm really looking down at the instruments. 80 knots, 3,300 going to 4,000. We've got some turbulence, but I'm just letting the plane kind of settle. Letting it kind of do its thing as it climbs up. We're not really going to have to worry about the mixture really at all. We got plenty of fuel. We're not going to get high enough really to worry probably about leaning it out. 3,600 going to 4. Again, we are just heading direct to Tango, Tango, Tango. And go ahead and align the heading bug with our heading. There we go. Just get ready for the autopilot. We are coming up on 4,000. So I'm going to go ahead and come off the power here a little bit, get into cruise setting, about 2,300 RPM. Push the plane over. Go ahead and let it start to All right, autopilot is coming on. So we are now on autopilot, being safe. That way we don't get any kind of spatial disorientation up here, because pretty much we can see the ground down here, but right out the front, it is pretty much just soup.
Generic 07 Whiskey contact, regional approach on
But we are still heading direct to Tango Tango Tango, which is the Maverick VOR here. That was part of our standard departure that I went ahead and filed. So we are going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to come over here. We are I'm going to go ahead and put 4,000 on. Just come down that little bit. Go ahead and intercept 4,000. Get everything settled at 4,000. That's what we filed for. And so we're going to got 4 miles, it looks like, till we get to Tango Tango Tango. So here we are in the soup. All right, there we go. Autopilot has intercepted 4,000 feet just as we filed. We are really coming up here on Tango Tango Tango, so we're really close, and so I'm not going to chase the needles or anything. We're on heading mode on the autopilot, so I am just going to go ahead and leave it all looking good there. Whew. So again, staying ahead of the airplane. What we're looking for now is even though we can follow the line, literally just follow the line. Yeah, we are right over. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go here. We can kind of zoom out here so you can kind of see the path a little better. There we go. So there we are in our GPS, but we have dialed in all of the nav, and so what we're waiting for now is actually this needle to kind of actually start to flip over, and then we are going to make a turn to 185. So so literally we are right over. There is Dallas Fort Worth, DFW. You can see that's where everybody's flying around here. The VOR is like right off the nose here. The actual building that is the VOR. We're picking up all of the outer and middle and inner markers for the ILS for Dallas Fort Worth. We can turn that off, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave all of that on. And again, we're not really going to chase the needles here. We're going to get on the back side here. So we're pretty much right here right over the VOR now, because if you take a look, Tango Tango Tango, we've already flipped over to the next waypoint. So what we're going to do here is, there goes the needle. It just switched over on us. So we are now going to make our turn 185. Start heading south to San Marcos, Texas. And the reason why I am on nav mode right now is because, or on heading mode right now, is because if you keep it on nav mode when you intercept, literally go right over the VOR, it gets confused, right? Because you're at an elevation, it still has a distance, it gets at all cattywampus. So what we're going to do is we're just going to head south, and we are going to let that needle right there start to recenter. You can see it starting to recenter. And then we'll go ahead and use the autopilot on nav mode, and we'll go ahead and kind of get it real close, and then we can switch over to nav mode, and then the autopilot will just fly that right there once we actually switch to the VOR or the nav on top. Right now we're using nav 2. So So there we go. We're still on our standard departure out of the Dallas area. Our needle is centered pretty good right here. There is our needle. 186 about, so everything is looking good. I really like the steam gauges. I have to say, steam gauges that's amazing. So much fun. 4,000 feet, everything is looking good. Engine is looking real good. I like the engine. All right, so what we can do now is, one thing we can do is we can come over here and turn this. I'll turn the volume down there a little bit. All right, we're just listening for November 80901. That's what we're listening for. All right, so we are outbound here now on 113.1. So what we're going to do is we're dialed in 113.1 here. So what we need to do is just change the OBS over to what we want, which is 18. There we go. And so now, if I come over here to the autopilot and I go to nav mode, now the autopilot is using this right here for our direction, for our heading. Lot of activity going on up here. This is busy. It's real busy. All right, I like everything that we see. We are indicating about 108 knots. And we are right now, we're 110 over the ground. So it's a Cessna 172. What are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do? All right, everything is looking good. Just gonna go ahead and center the heading bug in case we need to switch over to heading mode. It's not going to turn us or anything. It's going to be continue to point us straight ahead. All right, so with that, if we then go over and we take a look at the chart, so here we are. We're now outbound here, heading down to this intersection right here. And then at some point here, as we head outbound, we're going to need to pick up 115.3. So with that, let me switch it over here from the chart. So there we go. So now 115.3. So I'm going to come down here and I am going to dial in 115. I've already had all this stuff dialed in, but I wanted to show it to you on the chart. Remember, we dialed it in. It's right up here, 115.3, just so we knew. So 115, I'm going to go ahead and switch it over. And you can see that it's already picking it up. We know that it's going to be just a little turn to the left, so it's 183. So something just like that. So basically, we know that we are at this intersection right here. This intersection right here. When... Oh, that was us. That was us. Oh no, I didn't copy. What was it? Oh, nope, don't do that. What was it? Oh, that's us. Too busy talking, did
134.15 for Cessna.
handoff. Fort Worth Center.
Fort Worth Center, Cessna November 809.
Missed a call.
4,000 feet.
Cessna November 80901, Fort Worth Center altimeter 29.54. Continue to Nellen as planned.
All right, so continue to Devlin. That's that intersection, and we'll know we're at that intersection when this needle, the second needle right here, centers, and then that's our little turn to the left that we'll meet.
Generic 17 Delta traffic is 1 o'clock 4 miles at 7,800 feet Airbus A20N. Report them in.
So, not fully socked in. We can still see the ground, but it might get worse as we go farther. But we'll continue to fly this as a full IFR flight. Everything's looking good. I'm going to come down here. We can go ahead and turn off our landing lights, and we can also turn off the fuel pump. There we go. All right.
Generic X-ray Alpha, November Juliet X-ray 4,000 feet. Generic X-ray Alpha, November Juliet X-ray 4,000
So looking good. Kind of just a bleh, jury day flight. You can see also right here, Tango, we're outbound, we're Tango Maverick to that intersection, Nellen. You can see what we're doing, 111 knots.
Generic November Juliet
So
X-ray traffic is 12 o'clock 4 miles at 4,000 feet Cessna Skyhawk. Report them in sight.
we're not gonna be able to
Airbus 917, contact Fort Worth Center.
we're not gonna be able to see nothing in this.
Good day.
And you can see as we've left the Dallas-Fort Worth area,
Center Airbus November 86
you can see that no more pilots, no more people, because typically they fly really around
Airbus November 8
those larger airports. So
altimeter 29.5 for continue as planned.
now one of the things that
The traffic is
I know that he did on his
Cessna Skyhawk. Report them in sight.
video,
Cessna 901 traffic is 9 o'clock 4 miles at 4,000 feet generic. Report them in sight.
I'm in the soup. How can I see them?
Generic 17 Delta traffic is 9 o'clock 4 miles at 4,000 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Is you
Generic November
can actually listen to
9 o'clock 4 miles at
the VOR. So we'll listen to Tango here.
sight.
Hear it?
Generic 17 Delta traffic in sight.
That boop. That's the Morse code for that VOR. That's how you can identify it.
Generic November Juliet X-ray have the traffic.
I don't know. They can see me, but I can't see them. I'm in the soup.
Cessna 901 traffic alert. 8 o'clock less than 1 mile, 4,000 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Hey, I'm IFR, man. What the hell's going on?
Generic November Juliet X-ray traffic alert. 4 o'clock less than 1 mile, 4,000 feet Cessna Skyhawk. Report them in sight. Generic November Juliet X-ray have the Cessna Skyhawk.
All right, they got me inside. I don't know. We can't see nothing. We're in this mess here. All right, everything is looking good. Autopilot. Otto, our little German co-pilot, has got us here squarely at 4,000 feet.
Generic November Juliet
Heading outbound here on Maverick or Tango VOR.
report them in
We do have some turbulence going on, so
Airbus 30 Victor traffic is 3 o'clock.
a lot of traffic. A lot of traffic if you're listening. A lot of traffic.
Generic November Juliet X-ray traffic in sight.
Here's 80901. You can see everybody behind us in the Dallas area
Have the generic in sight.
and nobody in front of us, so we're gonna head south. Probably find some more people as we get down here by maybe Waco, but also Austin. Probably gonna be a lot of people when we get down here by Austin, so. And it's gonna be, full flight, maybe 2 hours or something like that, so. But everything is looking good here in the neighborhood as we are headed on our IFR flight down to San Marcos Regional, Kilo Hotel Yankee Indigo, recreating a flight by Aviation 101. Again, you can go down in the description below and get a link to the actual flight that I am recreating here by the pilot tuber, Mr. Aviation 101 himself. And you can also find a link to his YouTube channel. So everything is looking good there. As you can see, all of our switches here for our checklist box are down. We went through our checklist. If you're interested in getting one of these, whether you're a flight simmer like myself or whether you're a real-life pilot, there's an affiliate link to get yourself one of these checklist boxes. Might save your life or so on. It's caught me in many errors. Obviously tonight you can also tell that one of the things that I ought to think about doing is actually making a checklist for live streaming. So since I literally forgot to switch the view over here for the taxi, no problem. I will just fix that when I add the chapters for this video. So if you're watching this later, you'll see then links to the chapters. So you can go right to what you would like to do if you don't want to sit here and enjoy the flight here in this soup. Well, we are heading south here. Not much really to see. It's northern Texas, so we haven't really got into the hill country. Got to go a little bit further south down by Austin and stuff before we get down there to the hill country of Texas. So, but here we are in November 80-90901. Our Cessna 172 with these beautiful steam gauges. I just really like the classic six box of the steam gauges. So, all right, everything is looking good. We're burning a little bit more fuel than what we really probably ought to, but we got plenty of fuel for this flight here, so we're just going to go ahead and burn it, keep our speed up as best we can, because we're kind of fighting this little bit of a headwind here. That's why we went ahead and filed at 4,000 feet, kind of down lower, because maybe the winds aloft are even stronger. So stay down low here, but exhaust gas temperature looks good. Again, I could lean out to try to save some fuel, so if you want to go ahead and do that, we can. Because usually around 5,000 feet is really want to even lean for takeoff. But we'll go ahead and just lean for cruise here. See if we get a RPM drop. Exhaust gas temperature is really increasing there. We're getting a loss of RPM, so let's go ahead and give it some more. There we go. We got our RPM back. So we'll go ahead and set that, so that'll save us a little bit of fuel here. But everything else is looking in the green. I can see everything over there. Oil temp, oil pressure, vacuum, amps, all look good. Fuel flow looks good. Exhaust gas temperature, fuel looks good. Volts look good. Everything is looking real good here. So we just got a nice, comfortable flight so far up here in the soup in November 80-90901. As we are just flying. Beady Bicycle 111 also flying. Looks like flying a 182 over there. Well, that's cool. Bunch of Airbuses. I can see a bunch of Airbuses and Tomcat, and DA-40, and F-18 and TBM. Oh my, Cessna 172 over there. Oh yeah. Everything is looking good. leaving that dense airspace of Dallas, and we are looking forward here into the soup. As we are just flying here, checking our instruments. Everything is looking good. Not much really to see outside. We will be using the ADF on the approach because our missed approach includes an ADF at Gary's, and at Gary's it is 272 is Gary's ADF for the initial approach fix into the ILS down there. So again, as we are pre-planning, staying ahead of the airplane here, that is what we are doing. I am looking over here on the ILS runway 13, and Gary's The initial approach fix and the localizer outer marker is an ADF of 272, but that is also where we would go hold. We would for our missed approach. So for that reason, I have no other need for an ADF right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and come on over here. Oh, that's us. I caught that one. Switch it over. Give him a call.
Fort Worth Center, Cessna November 8099er 14,000 feet.
Cessna November 8099er Fort Worth Center altimeter 29.5 for continue to Nellen as planned.
Alright, just continue as planned. So 272. Gotta kind of find the sweet spot, I think, for the. Can I even change this, or is this a bug? That's that. That's that one. So, I'm not sure how to get. I think it's glitched out on me. That just swaps, yep. Let's just. Oh, there we go. You click it first. Alright, there we go. There we go. All right, so now we've got. Oh, it's kind of clearing up a little bit outside. So now we got the ADF, and the ADF will show up right down here once it becomes active. But we've got a long way to go before we're even worried about seeing that active. So, but yeah, not kind of the weather's kind of clearing up, at least right here. So at least we've got. Kind of something to see here. I think this is I-35. Yeah, I think it's Interstate 35 right down there. Very nice, very nice. All right, so we're set up now. Come over here, you can see that we've still got 37 miles before we get to Nellen. We'll also know that we're at Nellen not just because of our GPS here, but also because this needle will center. Oh. It's us. It's not too bad. The weather's not too bad.
Report them in sight.
Fort Worth Center, Cessna November 8099er 14,000 feet.
Cessna November 8099er Fort Worth Center altimeter 29.54. Continue to Alpha Charlie Tango as planned. Generic 26 Romeo traffic in sight. Generic 584 traffic is 9 o'clock, 2 miles at 6,000 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Alright, I'm going to.
Cessna 90901 traffic is 6 o'clock, 4 miles at 4,000 feet generic. Report them in sight.
So we are going to go ahead and
Fort Worth Center, generic X-ray Alpha Whiskey Papa Bravo, 4,000 feet. Airbus 21 Victor contact Fort Worth Center on 127.15. Good day. Generic X-ray Alpha Whiskey Papa Bravo, Fort Worth.
all right, so we're going to head now, make that little bit of a turn. We'll take that little bit of that left turn here and head toward Alpha Charlie Tango. It should. Might be a pretty big turn and it'll sweep back around here.
Report them in sight.
There we go.
Generic November 9er 821 tree is passing 4,000 feet, climbing 11,000 feet.
So we are now heading down to Waco.
Altimeter 29.5 for continue as planned. Generic Whiskey Papa Bravo have the Cessna Skyhawk in sight. Going to 127.121.
So once we get to Alpha Charlie Tango, which is the Waco VOR, then we want to be outbound on that one on 193 radial. So that is outbound on the 193. So what we'll do is we'll come over here, and down here is we'll basically be making then a right turn to 193. Everything is looking real good. 4,000 feet. Nav mode using the VOR, not the GPS. The GPS we're actually using as a backup. You can just graphically look over and see we're on the magenta line. We're heading good. Everything is good. Can we change this over here too? Is it menu? Change fields. No, it's not the same. Okay. I'll see if I can do track up. And I don't know how to do track up. So, looking good. We're right at the soup level, you know, the overcast. Of course, we knew it was overcast at 4,100, so, in rain, so. So not as bad IFR flight as Aviation, Mr. Aviation 101 had in real life flight, but still good IFR flight here. So at some point we'll do a down to minimums like he did in his flight. So I mean, I guess I could change the weather, but I don't want to change the immersion. So everything is looking good in the neighborhood. We're on nav mode, still heading south down to Waco. I would imagine we would get vectors to the ILS runway 13. We won't have to go to San Antonio VOR, backtrack, do the procedure turn. I would imagine that they're going to give us direct, but we shall see. All right, everything is looking good. Instruments, I like. Oh, whoa! Did you see that plane go by? Whoa! That was crazy. Thanks. Thanks, ATC. All of a sudden I look over there, plane going the opposite way. Yeah, I think he just went zooming by me. Of course he had me in sight. Whew. All right, well, now we're doing about 111 indicated. 115 over the ground. Everything is looking good in the neighborhood. I'm just doing a scan of everything, making sure everything.
Generic 08 Alpha contact Fort Worth Center on 127.15.
I like it.
Good day.
We are cruising here in November 80 901 Cessna 172,
At 4,000 feet generic.
owned by Mr. Aviation 101. Again, down in the description.
Generic Whiskey Papa Bravo.
Down in the description, you can see his YouTube channel because he is a pilot tuber in real life. And so you can actually see the link to the flight that I am recreating here. This is where I get my inspiration from, is from real life pilots, pilot tubers, and recreate their flights.
Papa traffic alert.
Also, I am trying to get the community tab on my YouTube channel by reaching over 500 subscribers.
Site.
And once I reach 500 subscribers, the live stream immediately after that, I will be doing a giveaway for a $50 Xbox gift code, U.S. dollars. And so we will be checking that out. I will be putting all of the rules and all of that, since I have announced it here. I will be putting all of the rules and everything for the contest in the description below. So we just got to wait for YouTube to process the video and all that so I can edit it, and I can put the description then down below. So, but if you go take a look at yesterday morning's live stream, my previous live stream, you can read about the contest there, because that was the first announcement for the giveaway that I did. So, but I will continue to remind people, because again, just need 92 subscribers to get over that 500 subscriber mark, at which point I get a community tab, which I would like to have, because then I can actually communicate to my subscribers through YouTube using the community tab. It's kind of like a built-in Facebook message board on YouTube.
135.75. Good day. Generic 19er Papa traffic is 12 o'clock 4 miles.
So that is why I am trying to get to 500 subscribers, because it gives me an added functionality on YouTube.
Cessna 901 traffic is 11 o'clock 3 miles at 800 feet generic. Report them in sight. Generic 530.
So we're not, like I said, we're not really in the soup anymore.
Generic 19er Papa have the Cessna Skyhawk
Yeah.
in sight.
So
Generic 19er Papa traffic alert. 7 o'clock, less than 1 mile, 4,000 feet Cessna Skyhawk. Report them in sight. Generic 19er Papa have the Cessna Skyhawk in sight.
all right, everything is golden. I like it. We've got 18 miles here before we get to Waco. And once we get over that VOR, again, as you cross over the VORs at a height, it just gets all befuddled. The autopilot can go all crazy because it's literally trying to chase the nav needles.
Generic November 78
And so as we get close, I'll go into heading mode on the autopilot, and then I'll just keep the plane going straight to intercept. Remember, we got to take this little bit of a right turn outbound from Waco VOR. So, or Alpha Charlie Tango.
Generic 19er Papa contact.
Looks like we're getting back into rain. We had, looks like it was kind of clearing up, but now we're back into rain, back into soup here. Again, we got the ADF set up over there. The reason being, ADF needle will be right down here.
75 for generic 19er Papa.
Reason being, we got that set up
Generic Whiskey Papa Bravo traffic is 10 o'clock 4 miles at 2,000
is because that is part of our missed approach
sight.
for the ILS runway 13 into San Marcos.
7 Charlie traffic.
So I want to make sure that we've got that set up in case we do a missed approach. I'm not really sure why we would do a missed approach, but you never know.
Airbus
right? Something on the runway, something wrong with our setup, and we just need to go around. We'll be reviewing that once we start going through our checklist here as we are getting closer to San Marcos. But first we've got to get over Waco here in about 15 miles.
135.25 for Airbus 05 Sierra.
So I haven't really done there's an Airbus above us there at 21,000 feet. Old Pro Striker. Old Pro Striker. So as you can see, as we get closer probably to Waco and stuff, other airplanes are popping up. Pilots are flying around kind of the major airports. They're checking things out in the flight sim. So but looking good. November 80-991's looking real good. There I am in my flight suit and my flight helmet. All these other pilots there. You can turn off the nameplates, and I have done that in previous live streams where you can't see them, but I wanted you to kind of get the full effect of what you can do. So these are all other players here. And so again, it's just fascinating to me to think about that, you know, all of these other players, all basically one big world, the world. This is on console, Xbox Series S. It's on Game Pass. So you actually don't have to buy it. You can just subscribe to Game Pass, get all the other games that are on Game Pass, plus Flight Sim. That right there in itself is amazing. Alright, looking good, just flying along here. Up here in the soup, IFR. Alright, so we're about 10 miles out from Waco, which is Alpha, Waco VOR, which is Alpha Charlie Tango. Oh, kind of getting the sun. It's a thin layer we're flying through here, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to keep it IFR. We've got some drizzle again. So we are 4,000 feet. Transponder is looking good. Engine is looking good. We're zooming along here at a big old whopping 100 and about 12 indicated. And it looks to be about 114 over the ground.
Going to 120.4, generic 65 Quebec. Generic 30 Alpha traffic is 1 o'clock 4 miles at 4,000 feet generic.
Alright, so we're coming up here on 9 miles. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and switch the autopilot over to heading mode.
3 miles at 4,000 feet generic. Report them in sight.
And so now we'll watch our needles.
Generic 30 Alpha have the generic in sight.
So again, what we want to do now is be outbound. So this is going to flip over from to to from. And then this needle should start to actually, it'll probably switch over. And then we will turn to 193 and intercept that on the 193. So a little bit of a right turn to 193, 195. It's 193 actually on the chart. So we got about 7 miles to go until we're actually like right over the VOR. Don't know if we'll be able to actually see the little VOR. Sometimes you can actually like literally like see the building that's down there. But we'll see if we can put the camera like this and see if we can actually see it. So you can see right here that we are right there. So 6 miles away. Looking good. Again, we're on heading mode here because I don't want the autopilot to try to chase the needles as we fly over the VOR. It's not that, you know, Otto, our little German auto, you know, co-pilot, he's not that good. So he would literally chase the needles and it would get all crazy. So if you want to see what we're doing here, I could come over here and zoom in. There we go, zoom in so you can really see. So we're 4.5 miles away. Right at 4,000 feet, right on the needle. Everything is looking good. Again, what we're really waiting to see is both of these will switch over. The two, when we go, it'll switch from to to from. This one will get all cattywampus, but this is the one that we want to recenter. And then we know that we want to head 193. We want to make a turn to the right of 193.
Fort Worth Center, generic November 20584, 700 feet. Generic Tree 5 Echo contact Fort Worth Center on
McGregor Executive. And yes, that is the same McGregor, Texas, where SpaceX does their rocket testing. Interesting factor. Everything is, so you watch these right here. Again, we're in nav mode. We're only 2 miles away, but remember, we're basically a mile up. So we're always going to be a mile away, basically. And so you're going to see those switch over here in just a little bit. And again, you can see that needle deflecting there on the top right here. I'm not going to chase it. I'm just going to let it do its thing. So somewhere right out here in front of us is the VOR, the actual VOR. It's probably right there, that road going to that thing out in the field. That's probably it right there. But we are just about to watch these things switch over from to from. There it goes. Just switched over to from, and that one just switched over to from. There goes our needle. So we're going to go ahead and start our turn. And again, we want to turn to about 195. There we go. So we're outbound 115.3, but now we want to be outbound on the 193. And now what we can go ahead and do is come back down here and go autopilot onto nav mode. And now we should see Otto, our little German co-pilot now, is going to go ahead and work on capturing that needle right here. All right, everything is looking good now. Like I said, we've got a little ways to go here, probably about another 30 minutes or so, as we get to this intersection of Hori, which is, we got about
Have the Airbus A20N in sight.
everything is looking good here.
Fort Worth Center, generic November 1070, Juliet is at 4,000 feet, climbing 7,000 feet.
Looking good.
Generic November 1070, Juliet, Fort Worth Center, altimeter 29.5.
We're passing by McGregor Executive. Everything is looking good. Got 65 nautical miles to go. And Hori is just on the north side, so I could imagine that after that we probably ought to
Generic 37 Charlie.
really start thinking about listening to ATC as we always are, but they might give us vectors. So we're gonna have to really start paying attention and stuff like that and get set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and over here on my charts, I'm gonna go ahead and get set up.
Climbing 6,000 feet. Generic November 8387 Golf.
Like I said, I filed for the instrument for the ILS runway 13 in the flight sim, so that's what I expect to be given.
Generic 148
So let's just make sure exhaust gas temperature looks good, everything is looking good, everything's in the green, fuel looks good, everything is looking good. We're still on both tanks. Let's just go ahead and take a look. Yep, we're both tanks.
4,000 feet. Generic.
Auto has got us going on very nicely. Looking good.
Generic 82 uniform traffic in sight. Generic 148 has a
Like I
traffic.
said, I would imagine that as we get close, they would give us. I filed to go all the way to San Antonio off the VOR and come back in procedure turn on the ILS. But I would imagine that once we get within about 40 something miles, 20 miles, something like that, that they would probably just go ahead and give us vectors. But we'll have to wait and see. But we've got some time here to get to our next little approach fix, which is Hori. But at Hori, we should be able to pick up San Antonio, which is 116.8. So what we can do is we can come down here and just dial in 116.8.
Generic 148 traffic is 1 o'clock.
It'll probably pick it up. Texas is so flat out here, and that would be inbound on the 209. So we'll go ahead and set that also to.
Generic 47 Golf have the Airbus A20
There we go.
in sight.
So we're all set up there on that VOR. Inbound here into San Antonio VOR.
Fort Worth Center.
But like I said, I doubt that's
1 Charlie.
what we are going to be doing. I think we're going to be getting
Generic November 2071 Charlie.
vectors here after Hori. And we got some time here.
Generic 47 Golf traffic alert. 12 o'clock.
We got 60 miles.
100 feet Airbus.
So with that, I think I will be continuing to monitor and everything. But I think you can just enjoy the flight. Everything is looking good. I will continue to do radio calls if needed.
Generic 47 Golf.
But I am going to take a little stretch break and all of that, and so you can enjoy some music as we just fly our way here down to San Marcos Regional. So I will be back with you in a little bit, so enjoy the music.
Going to 125.65 Cessna Niner. Houston Center, Cessna November 8099, 1 4000 feet.
Hello there, Petra. Yep, I was having just kind of cruising, having the radio on. We are just doing a nice flight here, recreating Aviation 101's flight. You can find a link to the actual flight in the description below. You can also find a link to the pilot tuber, the pilot tuber Aviation 101, a link to his YouTube channel down there. But Petra, thumbs up because you are amazing. Thank you for joining me here as we are just flying November 80901. That is Aviation 101's flight from Addison, Texas, up by Dallas, down to San Marcos Regional, kind of in the soup here. Got some drizzle, got some low clouds and all this kind of stuff. Filed for IFR, we're flown IFR. We're using a combination of GPS and the nav and VOR equipment because we are running the Cessna 172 with the standard steam gauge 6-pack and double navs and all that kind of stuff. So that is what we are doing here. We are coming up here in Fort... We're not going to be able to see them. We're in the soup, man. We're in IMC, pretty much IMC. We did have a plane go right past us, but I appreciate that you like the stream. I like doing this. I like recreating pilot tubers. That's what I call them. Pilot tubers. Hashtag pilot tuber. You heard that here first. But I like recreating in real life flights here in Flight Sim. It gives me the inspiration rather than just kind of flying around. So that's what I like doing. So yeah, so welcome, Petra. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Like it if you do. Come join. Oh, shoot, there they go. I had them in sight. I could call it in, but we are letting Otto here, our little German co-pilot, fly us here. So we are on autopilot. Don't want to get any spatial disorientation or anything like that and crash. Even though we've kind of been in and out, now we can actually see the ground here, so we can actually see stuff. But we've been kind of going in and out of the soup here. So 4 a.m. in Spain. Petra, what are you doing over there? Man, well, I sure do appreciate you coming in, Petra, here and joining me so late. Yeah, a lot of times I'll add music. I'll put music on when I've just got a leg here of the flight and just kind of let it go. Plus, in real life, I've got back problems here, and so it helps me to get up and stretch, and so I do that. And that's one reason why I really like Flight Sim, because it allows me to do that and not turn off or pause or anything the live stream or the action that's going on. But yeah, we've actually got some stuff. We can actually see the ground now. All right, so we are 10 miles away. So as you know, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tell Otto to go on to heading mode. That way he doesn't chase the needles here as we cross over the VO or cross over this intersection point. And the intersection point is right there. You can see that this needle is slowly centering because that's the intersection point where we are then going to go from a outbound course out of Waco to an inbound course into San Antonio. So that is what we are doing. So what I'm going to do, since I'm in heading mode now, is I'm going to go ahead and switch this over to 116.8. So 116.8 up here on the nav, and then we can go ahead and switch that over. And now that we can get this, so we're going to want to be on 209. That's the new heading. So what we're doing now is we're just waiting for those needles to center, and when those needles center, we can go back onto nav mode on the autopilot. So but Otto's been doing real good here for us. So we got Georgetown, that's north of Austin. Reason why you're seeing probably other players is because we are getting close to Austin, and so you're probably going to find some other human pilots here in Flight Sim around this area just because we are getting close to Austin. So But we are going to bypass Austin, and we are going to continue to head south and shoot the instrument approach into San Marcos. That's what I filed for, and so on my IFR, so that is what we are then going to do. So we've got about just 6 miles or so here until we get to the VOR that is, or to the, it's not a VOR, excuse me, it is just a waypoint. It's a fictional waypoint out in space, but basically we are outbound on one VOR, and we want to then go inbound onto another VOR, which is San Antonio. So that is what we're about to do, and make this little bit of a turn here, little bit of a turn as we are coming down. It's a little bit of a turn actually to the right. So that is what we are doing. When I look over here, I'm actually looking at all the charts. This is what I'm looking at over here. I've got everything set up over here, so that is what I am looking at. I'm looking at the IFR chart. So we are 5 miles out from our Hori waypoint. You'll see that on the GPS here. I've just got the GPS zoomed in range pretty close so you can really see things when they happen. But we've been flying the flight, not GPS has been our backup. We've been flying it completely on the VORs and the navs rather than doing GPS. So that is what we have been doing. So it's been a good flight. Everything's been smooth, no problems or anything like that, really. So I would imagine here in a little bit, after we pass this this waypoint here, Hori waypoint, coming up here in 3 miles, you can actually see the bend here. Is once we come up to that we got to really pay attention, because San Antonio is actually beyond San Marcos, but the way that it filed and the way that I filed the flight plan is shoot the old approach, which was go down to San Antonio, turn around, come back, intercept the localizer outbound, do the procedure turn, ILS. I would imagine we'll probably get vectors to the ILS at San Marcos for runway. So we'll see what happens here. You can see our needle slowly centering there. If we want to make them center a little bit quicker, we can make a turn here to the left just a little bit. So we'll just tell Auto here to make a little turn to the left, head a little bit more south. But yeah, the Cessna 172, November 80-991. Has been performing real well. There's me in my flight suit, my flight helmet. Ever since they gave us this avatar, I just really like the avatar. So, you know, there we are. Look at that. Oh yeah, boy. There we are. Looking good, huh? Yeah. We are still coming up. Those needles are slowly centering. Like I said, we're going to go past the actual waypoint. We're going to let those needles center. Once those needles center, then we'll go back onto nav mode on Auto, our little German co-pilot. But like I said, I would imagine here almost at any time, because to get to San Antonio VOR is 65. So I would imagine sometime here in the next 20 miles or so, I'm expecting to get vectors to San Marcos. We would be close enough that they would give us vectors. That's what I'm thinking. But we'll see what happens. I've got everything. I got the chart up, got the the approach plate set up here, so I know frequencies and all that kind of stuff over here to my right. The interesting thing actually that happened though was we've already picked up Gary's, which is the localizer outer marker or the initial approach fix for the ILS runway 13 into San Marcos that we'll be shooting. And so it's already it did pick it up, and now is it right off the nose? Yeah, it actually might be like right off the nose right now, but it is active. So let's see here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do 205. So there we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and go on nav mode. And now the plane is flying. Auto is going to keep us centered on this right here. He'll start to make a turn to the right. There goes the turn. Nice easy turn to the right. Don't want him really chasing the needles or anything like that. So just he's going to follow that needle. And then we can go ahead and set up down here. Since we're on nav mode up there, I'm just going to go ahead and come back here. We've already listened to Addison. I'm going to go ahead and dial in localizer frequency down here just so it's all dialed in. That is the localizer frequency, and it is 126. Go ahead and dial that. So there is our localizer. So we're all set up there. So you can now see the ADF. There's the ADF to Gary's, which is the localizer outer marker or the initial approach fix. So that is actually can help us inbound, and it can also help us for missed approach, because our missed approaches climb straight ahead to 2,000 feet, then a climbing right turn to 3,200 feet, and then direct to the the outer marker, which is Gary's, which is that ADF, and then hold. So that's why I've got that all set up there. But we are now heading. Everything is looking good. We've got. Yep, I like what I see here on the old. Everything is looking good navigation wise. Everything is looking good over here engine wise. Yeah, I've been burning like 12 gallons an hour, so I haven't really been worried about fuel. Ching, you know, the money. You know what I'm saying? So we're just kind of shooting down here, not too worried about burning fuel. We have leaned out the engine a little bit, so we are saving a little bit of fuel, but not too much. So, because I'm just kind of getting down here to this flight as fast as possible. A little bit longer flight than I actually had planned because we do have a headwind, so that was part of the issue. So, but now you can see the ground here as we're going out to the eastern edge or western edge of Austin. Oh, that's not us. I'm just, like I said, I'm expecting to get we're landing runway 13. I filed for the ILS. So you're usually up early, Petra? Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, me too, but not that early. Not that early, so yeah, I do like to get up early. I was up early. I'm getting a little tired, I'll tell you, because if you watch any of the other live streams, you also know that I like to live stream hunting sim and Way of the Hunter. It just came out, and it's a hunting sim, and I'm really enjoying it. And I'll live stream it, probably about once or so every 2 weeks. But in just about 10 days here in the state of South Carolina, hunting season for archery begins. So, and I hunt archery with a crossbow, so and get things ready in real life too. So, all right, the weather's clearing up here a little bit. We could probably duck down to like 2,500 and just go
Generic November 69er.
go VFR.
Feet. Generic November 69er 625 Houston Central.
But no, I said I was gonna fly. I said I was gonna fly at IFR. I'm gonna fly this IFR. We're gonna shoot the approach. Everything is looking good. We've already listened to the weather. We could listen to the weather again. I've still got it dialed in. I just have it turned off so we don't hear it anymore. So.
Generic 36 Bravo contact Houston Center. Hotel Yankee India Airport information. India 2100 Zulu. Wind 146 at 4. Visibility 9.
I think it's the same weather. Captain Cam. There's Captain Cam 87. That is a human player right out in front of us, also in a Cessna 172. Wouldn't that be interesting if there was Captain Cam 87, Cessna 172, and he is probably, or she, excuse me, pardon me, that they are probably, oh, who knows? Maybe heading to San Antonio.
4,000 feet.
Maybe they're coming away from San Antonio.
Generic November 61311 Houston Central altimeter 29er decimal 5 for continuous planned.
There definitely is a. We'll fly right over, and it'll show up on our GPS. It is. It's called Pinch. It is just another waypoint that we'll see here. And let's see if we can find Pinch. Well, there's Gary. So you can see I've been talking about Gary's. So no, I don't see Pinch, but Pinch is a waypoint right on our radial that we're heading on here into San Antonio VOR. That is kind of, it could be actually another waypoint for the ILS. So looking at the chart over here, so once we start to see maybe Pinch, then like I said, I'm just expecting vector. I'm just expecting vectors, not having to go all the way down to San Antonio VOR as filed. So oh, somebody flying the Dark Star up there, climbing up through 50,000 feet, gonna do like Mach 10. It's a fun airplane in the sim. They gave us, you know.
Cessna 901 traffic is 1 o'clock 4 miles at 4,000 feet generic. Report them in sight.
1 o'clock.
Generic 118 traffic is 1 o'clock.
All right, they say there's traffic out here.
4,000 feet generic. Report
4,000
them in
feet, even with us.
sight. Generic 72 Lima traffic is 3 o'clock 3 miles.
When you hear that generic call,
Report them in sight.
generic means they're taking real ADS-B data
Generic 625 traffic is
from real
1
world
miles at 4,000 feet.
and putting it in the sim, because I have AI traffic on. So you can literally, if we could get the in number, you can look it up on like FlightAware, and you can actually see how they flew, because it's literally it's real data that they're bringing in, and that is amazing.
Generic 72 Lima have the
I didn't see him come whizzing by. No, I didn't see him.
Generic 625 traffic in sight.
All right, everything is. I like everything that I see. I like everything on navigation. I like everything on the engine and instruments. Everything seems healthy. I have no concerns, no squawks on the box right now. We're still at 4,000 feet. Otto, our little German co-pilot, is tracking San Antonio VOR. Like I said, I am looking for Pinch. So there's a Mimi. There is a Mimi. See if I can find a Mimi. That's probably for Austin. I don't see a Mimi on my chart. What I'm looking for is Pinch. But we'll see what happens. It would be nice if they gave us vectors rather than as filed. What is unknown all of a sudden? Look at that. Jeez, look at that. That's crazy. 85,000 just dropping in. It must be in the Dark Star. That's crazy. Now, as you can tell, we're back in the soup. Got back to rain.
Generic 118, contact Houston Center on 120.6. Good day.
All right, we're picking up the localizer now. Remember, we dialed in on nav 2, the localizer. So see, it's gone live.
120.6. Generic 118.
So this is
Generic 76 Charlie.
for 108.7.
Miles northeast. Descend and maintain.
Also remember that we've
Expect vectors. Visual runway 15 left.
We've also got this right here. We got the ADF for Gary's, the initial approach fix. It's active.
Fuel clock for miles at 4,000 feet generic. Report them in sight.
All right, let's get ready. Let's check our. Haven't checked out this again.
Generic 72.
This is a checklist box. You can get it from Missionary Bush Pilot. There is an affiliate link down in the description below, but this is a checklist that I do. So all the switches are down. So we used it for takeoff. Now I'll flip them up and I'll use the bottom here for my landing checklist. So this is what I am now reviewing here. So selectors, brakes, cowls, lights, mixtures. Okay, everything. We're just about ready here. We'll work through that checklist, especially once we get the call here about to start shooting the approach.
November 0439er, Kilo Houston Center altimeter 29.5 for continue as planned. Houston Center, generic
You come over here and you look at the GPS. So here we are coming in.
1,000 feet. Generic November 9er Charlie, Houston Center altimeter 29.5.
I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in again.
Cessna 9er, one contact
Oh, Austin approach. Here we go.
9.0. Good day.
Going to 119.
It's us.
0 Cessna 9er 1.
Generic tree 9er, Kilo traffic alert. 6 o'clock left.
Call them up.
Austin approach Cessna 809er 4,000 feet.
Cessna November 809er 1, Austin approach altimeter 29.54. Continue to Sierra Alpha Tango as
All right. So they're still gonna have us heading the way that we're going, which is go down the San Antonio VOR, then basically almost make a 180-degree turn and intercept the localizer from the south rather than the north. If that's what they want us to do, that's what we'll do. But you can start to see here. So if we come out here and we zoom out, you can see Kilo Hotel Yankee Indigo's on the GPS. If I zoom way out, that's where we're heading. You can see the procedure turn is on there. Everything's on there, so it looks like they're gonna have us do the procedure turn. That's what I filed for, so that's what we'll fly. So we have got 36 miles here to get to San Antonio VOR. So basically what the approach is gonna be like, because we're not getting vectors, is we're gonna go down here to the San Antonio VOR, pretty much make a 160 degree turn, come back, then intercept the localizer outbound, do the procedure turn. That's what we're gonna do, unless they tell us something different. Because clearly you can see the localizer is active. This ADF is pointing right toward Gary's, which is the initial approach fix. So we have plenty of data that we can use here. Thought the weather was going to be a little bit worse, that we were going to be a little bit more in the soup, wouldn't be able to see the ground, but so that's what we want. We want as much information as possible and stay ahead of the airplane, stay ahead of the flight. And so everything is working out really good here. But yeah, we are not getting vectors. Like I said, they're gonna have me do as filed. So the airport is basically now is out here. But we are gonna fly as filed. So it's gonna add you know, oh, half hour to our flight or something like that. But that's okay. It's okay. We will do as filed, because when I told Microsoft Flight Simulator that I wanted to do the J-Pool departure out of Addison, and then I wanted to fly the ILS, this is what it gave me. So that's what we did. And it was very similar to Aviation 101. He shot the ILS Approach. I think he got vectors on his, but we'll fly it this, like I said, as filed. So we will come in here. We'll probably be stay at 4,000 feet. We'll come back. We'll intercept Gary's. We'll turn outbound on the localizer, procedure turn, and do all of our descent. So if you haven't ever seen that, I will try to demonstrate it as best as I can. We got Gucci horse out in front of us here. Looks like probably in San Antonio, and they are in the, in the Dark Star. That is our Top Gun Maverick Mach 9, Mach 10 airplane that they have given us here in Flight Sim. All right, looking good. Looking good. So 30 miles to go. And again, I could have reset everything in flight, do a new file, IFR, change the flight plan. I don't want to do that. So we are going to fly this. So what I think I'll probably do is, as we are flying down here to the San Antonio VOR and making the turn, I will probably continue to monitor. But you can enjoy the music, and I'll be back with you when we are heading back north to intercept the ILS Approach runway 13 into San Marcos Regional in Texas. So I will be back. All right, I am back with you here in the cockpit, and we are coming up here. We're within 5 miles of the San Antonio VOR. We're going to do roughly this 180-degree turn and head back towards San Marcos, intercept the localizer, and do the procedure turn and everything like that. So let's go ahead and get set back up here in the cockpit. And so I'm going to go ahead and go on heading mode on auto, our little German co-pilot here for this remaining 4 miles that we've got until we intercept and fly basically directly over the San Antonio VOR. And then we are going to be heading outbound on a 056. So I'm going to go ahead and dial in here.
Generic 56 Papa traffic is 10 o'clock 4 miles at 4,000 feet generic.
056, that's what we want outbound then.
Generic 28 Yankee traffic is 12 o'clock 3 miles at 4,000 feet generic. Report them in sight. Generic flight 6 Papa have the traffic.
There's 2 other human simmers over there.
6 Papa traffic alert. 9 o'clock less than 1 mile 4,000 feet generic. Report them in sight. Generic 28 Yankee have the traffic.
So we got 2 miles.
Generic
Right off the nose is the VOR somewhere down there on the ground. But we're on heading mode, so what we're going to do is we're going to fly down here. We're actually going to go over the VOR. And then we're going to basically do a turn and then intercept and head back out. That is what our plan is. So we're basically going to make almost a 180-degree turn and head back basically north. So everything is looking good right now. So our reciprocal course will be almost due north because then we'll intercept the radio that we just dialed in there on the VOR. So that is what we're doing. So there we go. It has gone ahead and switched over. And so what we're going to do is now we are going to go ahead and start our turn here. So we are going to tell Otto, our little co-pilot here, to go ahead and start making that turn. So here we go now. We're basically making this 180-degree turn. This is what we filed. This is what Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 gave us. So it basically is as filed. So that's what we are going to then do. So we're just going to go ahead and make this big old turn here. We're coming around. Otto, our German co-pilot, is doing a real good job here. Real good job. I am just monitoring all the systems and all that kind of stuff. So here we go now on course. So now what we're doing is we're waiting for this needle right here, right there, that needle to start centering. And then we'll turn on course 056. And that's all planned. It's all basically here on our charts, that magenta line on the IFR chart there. So everything is what we are doing here. So everything is looking good. There we go. There goes the needle. So I'm going to have Otto now start turning on 055 here. But we're going to bypass it just a little bit, but we'll come back. We'll pretty much capture it. Let's go 060. That way then we're... All right, we are outbound now. We are heading back toward San Marcos Regional, where we want to head. Could go on nav mode, but I'm going to stay on heading mode and just go ahead and let that needle slowly center. I'll just work it with auto. Everything is looking good. You can follow along on the GPS. There's our line here. We just passed the Chris intersection. We're going out here to Troop intersection. So we are using the GPS really as a backup, and we've been flying the whole flight here using the navigational instruments and the VOR. So I'm still just flying under on heading mode here. I'm just going to go ahead and let that settle us up on the needle there, and then I'll switch over to nav mode once we're outbound. But then eventually here we'll start getting all of our calls for the actual approach. So it's time to start. We are coming out of San Antonio here. What I filed to is actually to another intersection called Braun. So that should be after Troop here. Yep, there's Braun, so you can see it right there. Braun. So we're gonna fly up to Braun here. And so you can see that needle is just about centered here. We're within the circle. So we could come over here and under nav, go ahead and click back on nav mode. And now auto here will go ahead and fly us here now up back toward Braun, which is another waypoint out in just 3D space. It's just another point in space. But then there we will head up to Gary's, which is the initial approach fix, and from there we'll do the procedure turn and then inbound. Then do the procedure turn. We'll go outbound on the localizer, procedure turn, and then inbound on the localizer. So that's what we filed for. That's what we're going to do, unless they give us something different. But everything is looking good on the old aircraft navigation. Everything's been real smooth here. We've been monitoring it. We've really stayed ahead of the flight. See, this is the whole thing about staying ahead of the flight. You can tell by how I have been and how we've listened to music on the flight and so on, that I really planned ahead. I understood the route, understood what was being asked of me, understood what was going to happen and so on. So I was very much ahead of the flight. So, and that's what you really want to be. You really want to be ahead of the flight. You don't want to be caught, you know, and then get where you really get down, your head gets down here and you get confused and you don't understand your instruments, and that's where you get disoriented, and that can lead into an accident and crash and so on. So been really paying attention to what's going to happen. What are we looking for, towards? So right now our nav instruments over here, yeah, we got the GPS with the magenta line, but this VOR is taking us basically right to Braun, and then it's taking us right to the airport. This will take us right to the airport. This one right here is set up for the ILS. So this is just telling us that the ILS, whenever it's active. But we'll switch this one over to the ILS 1087. We'll switch it over once we get up here. Also remember that this right here is set to Gary's. So this is pointing directly to Gary's. This is the initial approach fix that we dialed in 272 over here on the ADF. So if I come down here on heading and I say that, our heading right now is 055.
Generic 28 Yankee on 134.2.
So now we can actually get how much, what we would need to go direct to Gary's once we get to Braun, and we've got 12 miles to get to Braun. And I know that from Braun to Gary's, the chart is telling me it's 031. So when this needle gets over here to the 3, then I know that I should also be pretty much at 0 distance, meaning I should be right on top of the waypoint Braun. So that's how this all works. So I've got a very good mental image of what is to take place. The GPS is my backup. My nav instruments are my primary, and I've got then this mental image of what should take place.
Eric Fife, 6 Papa, contact Houston Center on 134.6.
So everything is looking good here. Don't really need to worry about too much. Once we get really after Braun, we'll start to actually go ahead and start to do some of our landing checklists, so that way when we're in the localizer and into the procedure turn, we're not doing a bunch of stuff. We're gonna again stay ahead of the flight because this is, oops, this is dangerous stuff. Escape is pause, and I actually hit escape. So 9 miles to go until we get to the. Oh.
Did you copy?
119er.
I missed a call. I was talking.
Cessna 991. Austin approach Cessna November 809er 4,000 feet.
Cessna November 809er Austin approach altimeter 29.54. Continue to Braun as planned.
All right, so we're continuing to Braun. That is our fix here. So if I go ahead and show you the chart, so we are right here. We're coming up to Braun. We're going to make a left turn to 031, intercept Gary's outbound, procedure turn, and then we're going to then shoot the instrument approach runway 13, San Marcos, unless they give us something different. So that is what we are doing right here. We're coming up Braun. Braun is the intercept, or the our little waypoint right here. Braun right here.
Austin approach generic November 1616 Alpha 3,200 feet. Generic November 1616 Alpha Austin approach altimeter 29.54. Continue to Charlie India 1 tree as planned.
Everything is looking good. All right, Petra. Thank you for joining. Thumbs up because you are amazing, Petra. Have a good day at work. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for joining. So, all right. All right, we're coming up here on 5 miles to Braun. Our little 5 miles until we get to heaven. 5 more miles until we get to Chicken Ranch. All right, so 5 miles, slight turn to 031. Again, we should see that also right here. As you can see, that needle's getting real close to 031. So that is our Gary. That's our initial approach fix. Four miles out. Everything is looking real good. Everything's looking sharp as expected. All of my navigation, all the data that I have here that I am looking at is all telling me everything is healthy. The engine is healthy, navigation's healthy, I'm healthy. Not in real life, but I'm in the sim. So everything is looking good. So we are about to make our turn to 030. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and tell Otto, our little German co-pilot, I'm going to go ahead and go on heading mode now. And so now I am going to go ahead and start making a turn to 031.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway 13 approach.
We're heading to Gary's.
Cleared to Gary's Cessna 991.
1225 generic Niner, 7 Hotel.
All right, so we are outbound here from, or soon to be outbound here from Braun.
825 generic 16 Alpha.
We are heading direct to Gary, and of course Gary's, you can see that we are direct Gary's because we are pretty much, that needle is pointing straight off the nose, so we're heading right toward Gary's. Everything is looking good. You come a little left. We are heading right toward Gary's. Gary's only, everything's happening real fast now. We're pretty much in the approach right now. Gary's is only just you know, a couple miles away. So one thing about the avionics and stuff of this is sometimes it really kind of, you know, screws up. So like, you know, this right here, you see this is counting up, even though it says that we are going to Gary's, and it's counting up. So we will use all of the data that we have. So what I am going to do here also is I'm going to go ahead and switch this over. We're in heading mode anyways. I'm going to go ahead and get it set up for the ILS. The ILS is 126 inbound. So these are both redundant now for the ILS approach. So now we are heading 035. So I come down here. Put that to 035, and then we want to turn, when we get to Gary's, we want to turn outbound, which will be outbound 306, reciprocal of 126. So 306 is what we are going to then turn outbound for the procedure turn. All right, just so things don't happen so fast. I'm going to come back on the power. I'm going to go ahead and start. Go full rich. So I'm going to start going through our checklist here on our checklist box. Again, if you want one of these, link is in the description below. Whether you're a real pilot or a simmer. All right, so selectors and brakes, everything is looking good. Fuel is looking good. Fuel is on both. Everything is looking good there. Lights, let's go ahead and turn landing lights. Landing lights are coming on. Landing lights, cow flaps. We don't have cow flaps in this airplane. Mixture, full rich. Carb heat, no carb heat. Fuel pump, we're going to fly this at about 70 knots. Our VREF is about 70 knots on the approach. So that's why we're slowing down here a little bit. Fuel pump, I'm going to go ahead and turn the fuel pump on. We know what we are supposed to do. We are going to do We're in the soup. We're not going to report them in sight. So our abort is a missed approach, and a missed approach is straight ahead to 2,000 feet climbing, left turn 3,200 right back to Gary's, and hold. That is the abort procedure, so that is looking good. So props and harness, seats and seat belts. We don't have a constant speed prop. Don't have to worry about that. Gear and flaps, we'll get to that when we need to, and then landing clearance. All right, so we've got gear we don't have to worry about, but flaps we do. So there's our checklist. And so now we are ready to go ahead and start flying the approach. I'm going to go ahead and come over here, and we're going to go ahead and zoom in one more time here so we can actually see everything. So we are going to do we're going to come up here to Gary's. We're going to make a left turn. This is 306, the reciprocal of our inbound of 126. Go do the procedure turn and then be inbound. And according to the approach plate, we need to do all this and stay really above. I was about to say 3,200.
Descend and maintain 3,200 feet, Cessna 901.
3,200. VS mode. We're going to come down 500 feet per minute. We'll speed up, but I'm not going to change. About 2,100. There we go. How come I always do this to myself? I got low fuel warning again. Got plenty of fuel though, I think. That's happened to me before. This might not end well. All right, we are coming up here onto Gary, so I'm going to make this turn to 306. There, actually, you can hear the actual initial approach fix, the outer marker. All right, we're descending down 3,200. 200 to go. It's bugged. Heading mode is bugged. Again, I got everything. We've already done our checklist. We've got flaps to worry about and landing clearance. But first we got to go do our procedure turn here. So we are outbound 306 now for the procedure turn. If we want, we can go ahead and alright, so now we can come down here and I'm going to go ahead and set this for 126, which is going to be our inbound because this doesn't turn. So we are outbound here on the localizer, going to come out here, descending down to 3,200. We do have this low fuel warning. This has not ended well for me before if you go back and look at my flight in the King Air. Alright, so we are outbound here on the localizer. Localizer is alive. Everything is looking good. I like what I see here. We come up here for the procedure turn. It is a right turn at 351, inbound 171. All right, let's go ahead. Oop, turn off cursor mode. Start the procedure turn here. We're a little Cessna 172, so we're going to come out here. We got to remain within 15 nautical miles. So that is what we want to do. We are looking good. 3,200. We got the engine back at 2,100 just to slow down a little bit. All right, 171. So here we go, coming around in the procedure turn. Now we'll intercept the localizer. We'll be able to go on to our approach mode. All right. Now we are coming back to intercept the localizer. We're going to watch our needles here. They are alive. 126. We are still on heading mode here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to auto, and we are going to go ahead and tell him go approach mode. So we'll let him now fly the localizer. You saw that the glide slope is armed. So we are, everything is looking good. I like it. Everything is working out. We've been ahead of the flight. Everything is just good. Minimums. Minimums is 200 feet. 793 on the altimeter. Altimeter is set. That is checked. Gonna go ahead and set the heading bug so that way in case we need to go around I can just use the, so everything is looking good. You can see the glide slope is armed. So Otto, our little German co-pilot here, who's right over there, is now flying us on the localizer, and I am going to now start to set up to intercept the glide slope because the glide slope needle is alive. All right. First notch of flaps, gears down. Power's coming in. Remember, we're shooting that for about 70 knots is what I want. Alright, we're waiting to see if Otto's going to intercept the glide slope. You should intercept it any time now. I'm looking down at the autopilot and also our needles. Everything is centering.
Austin approach, generic November, tree, 62, hotel 2,100 feet.
Yep, intercept the glide slope. Coming back on the power since we're going to be in descent. Going for 70 knots. VREF is 70. Power's coming back. 1600. Let's try 1600. Let's go 1500. Alright, everything is looking good. Otto's got us right now. I am just monitoring and I am just working on our speed. One notch of flaps. Just checking ATC.
Generic 82 Victor contact Austin approach on 127.225. Good day. Generic 907 hotel contact Austin approach on 118.8. Good day.
Oh, we're slow. I've been messing around with things.
118.8 for generic 907 hotel. .225 for generic 82 Victor.
I don't see how we have an option for, maybe they already gave us approach clearance? Well, I'm inbound, that's all I can say. I'm inbound. Oh, now we're fast. All right, passing 2,300. Don't have runway in sight. Oh, I got runway. I got the, this is not right. I think ATC is going to yell at us. But everything's looking good, but I see the meatball flashing way off to the left. I think Flight Sim's got a misalignment here of their of their ILS runway 13 going into San Marcos Regional. But maybe we'll get out of the soup here and then we'll be able to just sidestep over, land runway 13. Like I said, I don't see that ATC is giving me the option of talking to the tower or anything. All right, runway's in sight, but yeah, we are definitely offset.
Generic 62 hotel contact Houston Center on 132.35. Good day.
Something is not right here. I'm gonna let auto continue to fly this though for a little bit because we're still, like I said, we can go down to roughly 800 feet. So we got this to be about 600 to go. I've got the runway in sight. So we're at 500 feet here. Autopilot's coming off my airplane. I can definitely got airport in sight. Got the meatball here. Like I said, ATC might yell at us because they never gave us the option of what to dial for tower. Usually that comes up in ATC.
Austin Approach, generic November 552901 800 feet. Generic November 552901 Austin Approach altimeter.
All right, runway in sight. Definitely got the minimums. We're good. That was a little glitch. So the end here is getting a little glitchy. All right, slow down a little bit. Another notch of flaps. So we never really got takeoff or landing clearance.
Generic November 58953 Austin Approach altimeter 29.5 for continue as planned.
Trim. This is runway 3. Yeah, it's runway 13. Looking good.
Austin Approach, generic November 0505 Mike 1000.
Looking good. I like it.
Generic November 0505 Mike Austin Approach altimeter 29.
Another notch of flaps slows down even more. It's like we're high, but hey, you know, gotta make this runway. I see the windsock. Everything's looking real good. So wind-wise, we're high, but it's okay. We got plenty of runs. It's Cessna 172. If I kill the power, we could but nope, just nice, easy. Nice, easy. Not gonna force it. Not gonna force it. Let's do it. Let's go for, you know. There we go. Idle. Whoa! I wish I had a little meter up there so you could see what my descent rate is when I make these amazing landings. Welcome to San Marcos. After we recreated the flight here that Aviation 101 did. From Addison, Texas down to San Marcos, Texas. Had a little glitch there. Localizer was offset from the actual runway, so that's weird. And ATC never gave us the handoff to the tower, so, but you know, it happens. So something's going on here with this airport, but we'll just taxi straight ahead here and shut her down and be done. So I really appreciate you joining. It's been a great flight, been a lot of fun for me. I hope you had a lot of fun too. And so thanks for watching these videos. Subscribe if you haven't. Click that like button if you do. Come chat with me in a future live stream, because I'm your favorite gamer's favorite uncle. So we'll just do a little taxi here, straight ahead. Offset so they don't get meat grindered. All right, parking brake comes on. Everything is looking good. Let's shut everything off. You two avionics, shut you off. Beat, tote, heat, pump, all that kind of good stuff. Looking good, looking good. Flaps are up. Everything is looking good. Let's pull it. Oh. And we are here. Welcome to San Marcos, everybody. Avionics. Oh, master's coming off. Hello. There we go. Keys coming off. And there we go. Welcome to San Marcos after recreating the flight by Aviation 101. Again, you can find the link to the actual flight and the video that Aviation 101 created down in the links, or down in the description below. You can also find a link to his YouTube channel in the description below. As you saw me, I was using my new checklist box from Missionary Bush Pilot. It is really cool. It even has lights, so it lights up so you can see it. It comes actually with multiple, or you can buy it with multiple placards depending on what you want. I have just gone ahead and kept the one that it came with because it seems to work out. Just it gives me a good checklist and all that. But there's an affiliate link also in the description below, so check that out. But again, thank you for watching the video. Subscribe if you haven't. Click that like button if you do. Come chat with me on a future live stream, and game on. I'm Uncle Mike, your favorite gamer's favorite uncle. I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, what a great flight. A little glitchy there at the end, but you know, it happens with Microsoft Flight Simulator. All is good. Great flight. November 80991. What a great little airplane, Cessna 172. So